What we see here is, look, the gospel is the gospel. Living it out, there are some responsibilities. When I showed you the stickman gospel, the arrow after the cross, the first one is 1 John 2:6, says that if you are going to claim Christ, then you need to walk as Jesus walked. The other verse is Romans 8:1 that says there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. You say, well, that's got to be a tough tension. It is. Why is it so hard for me? I want to show you just a quick depiction of the war within. Because if you're honest, you are fighting this war every day. Why do I do what I don't want to do, and I don't do what I do want to do? And I am saved, but how do I live with this truth of no condemnation, and yet the responsibility of living as Christ? And let me see if you're old enough to recognize and remember this.
I got brown sandwiches and green sandwiches. Which one do you want?
What's the green?
It's either very new cheese or very old meat. Stop that, will you? What are you doing?
I'm trying to clear up my ears. You create a pressure inside your head, it opens up the eustachian tube. Is
everybody happy? Remove that spaghetti from my poker table.
It's not spaghetti, it's linguine.
Now it's garbage.
Something made you go off the deep end like that. Now, what is it? Is it something I said or something I did?
Nothing you said. No, don't stop me, Felix.
Oscar, what is it? Is it the cooking or the cleaning, the crying?
I'll tell you exactly what it is. The cooking, the cleaning, the crying. It's the talking in your sleep. It's those moose calls that open your ears at 2 o'clock in the morning. Can't take it anymore, Felix. I'm cracking up. Everything you do irritates me. And when you're not here, the things I know you're going to do when you come in irritate me. Everything you do irritates 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 me.
The question is, are you old enough to recognize and remember the odd couple? Listen, there's a war inside of you. I spent most of our time this morning wanting to make sure that you understand what the truth is. I want to close our time by helping you live out this truth and understanding the very real tension that you and I are going to live with every day. Listen, the truth of the gospel does not take you out of the war zone. You and I live in it. We're going to be tempted every day. You've got an old flesh. Romans 7:25, Paul says, "Oh, who is going to take this wretched man from me?" What he's talking about is in their day, he draws the parallel to living out the tension of Christian living as being akin to those who, in his day, if you murdered somebody, one of the penalties for murder was that the corpse of the one that you murdered would be draped on your shoulders. And you would have to literally carry that corpse in their decay until it ultimately killed you. And what Paul says is living out this life with a fallen flesh, even though you've been captured by grace, it's like carrying the corpse on you. And friends, you're going to be tempted. You're going to be tried. You're going to have tests. Don't look at that and let it cause you to go into despair. And at the same time, recognize that God means it. When he says that if you want to walk or claim Christ, you must walk as Jesus walked, he meant it. When he says there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, God means it. It's a both and it creates tension. The gospel plus people say, oh, no, 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 see, you've got to do this, 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 and this, and this. You've got to get ritually clean. You've got to jump through the hoops. You've got to do the religious stuff. Otherwise, the gospel didn't really apply to you. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Gospel plus is a lie from the pit of hell. And in the same way, those that would say, hey, listen, c'est la vie, sovereignty, doesn't matter. You do whatever you want. Hey, listen, faithful obedience doesn't matter. This whole idea of living radically surrendered to Christ. Well, gospel minus comes from the pit of hell as well. Jesus said in Matthew 7 that it's a narrow path. My prayer is today that you see clearly this narrow path. The gospel is all of grace, and it will alone redeem you. But it also brings responsibility. And while you are not saved because of your works, the works that you show, the works that you live are to come from an overflow of the grace. The same gospel that promises you no condemnation also calls you to pick up your cross daily. Let me show you. This is Jesus speaking, Luke 14:27. Unless you will pick up your cross and follow me, no matter what. It is my eagle that inspires me. No matter what. Jesus' quote. Gospel blessing. You get to pick up your cross every day and follow him. Otherwise, you cannot be his disciple. See, I want to be one of those truth tellers that loves you enough that helps to guide you through the freedom of grace and the privilege of grace. The privilege to champion Christ